I'm a mullet fisherman. I'm a hockey goalie. I don't even have my equipment on right now. I'm a mullet fisherman, a hockey goalie, and I grow potatoes and tomatoes and onions and cabbages every year in the backyard. How come I know what your professor doesn't know? Isn't that a strange thing? When I said it was circular reasoning, I have the proof that it was, and they're written, and you can buy the stuff, and there it is. And I read it, and there it is, and I got it. And your professor don't. What's the matter, Professor? You're kind of stupid, aren't you? Kind of stupid? You born that way to get back to your daddy, or you learn to be that stupid? Folks say, Ruckman, you're making fun of us. Absolutely. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. I never saw a bunch of numbskulls all my life. You couldn't teach Native Vacation Bible School. Now, that's the setup. Now, just for diversion, I'm going to show you a more likely setup. You know, my Bible says, it says, professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. Is this any better as far as the reflection goes or not? That better? Okay. We'll handle it this way. Now, the Bible says, profess themselves to be wise. That's the punch. They became fools. My Bible says, it pleased God by wisdom to save people by the foolishness of preaching, because the world by wisdom knew not God. Now, I've constructed here a little evolutionary scale. You know, from down here on up to modern man. I'm just kidding here. I say, as research edited by the Paleontology Department of Columbia University. Now, that isn't true. That's just pulling your leg. But this is a very interesting chart. For example, the prosimian ancestral primates. That's the tarsiers and the lemurs. And all the other people that you claimed Darwin said you came from without coming from monkeys. But he did say you came from monkeys. And I've got it in writing, and know the book and the chapter and the page number and the copyright, so don't cut the fool. And I'll even show you where he said the three races came from three different kinds of monkeys. Monkey see, monkey do. Here's the first one. Negroes. According to this chart. From them come the gibbons. There's a new twist. You folks like something new, don't you? What do you think about that? You folks are hung up on racism. What do you think about that? You say, Rupp, never told me you were horrible and prejudiced in all my life. Why, sure you did. Look at that one there. Look at the first man. Look at the second one. Look at the third one. Look at the fourth one. Done lost his color, turned white, didn't he? You don't object to that? But you object to that? Why, you prejudiced, discriminatory, bigoted, narrow-minded reprobate you. Up here, on this side, Vietnamese, who become Japanese, and from the Vietnamese come the common lemurs. And from them come the Orientals. I didn't think this chart. Don't you get mad with me. I'm just seeing if you have a sense of humor. Some of you folks lost it real quick in the last 5 minutes, haven't you? Haven't you? But you put up with that junk, didn't you? You put up with Mickey Mouse and Roadrunner and Porky Pig and Tom and Jerry. Let's get on. Over here, the great apes become the poles, and they produce toasters. That's funny, don't you think? It's an ethnic joke. You haven't lost your sense of humor, have you? Trying to censor speech, are you? I know you liberals. Watch those dirty talk programs at night, do you? On that channel, all them dirty jokes, all the four-letter words, doesn't upset you? But a Pollock turning into a toaster upsets you? Got a problem, fella. It's mental. Up she goes here. We have here the proboscis monkey who becomes an Arab, and they produce Jews and Dutchman. I don't know exactly how you get that ancestral line, but I know one thing is any further off of that one, it don't take as much time. Let's try it this way. Over here, the baboons become the French. The orangutans, Darwin said that. I'll show it to you in a while. You don't believe it? Keep watching, stupid. Live and learn. By the time you broaden your education, you can't have an isolated mentality all your life, you narrow-minded bigot. And orangutans become Cubans, Puerto Ricans, and Chicanos. Do I hear any laughter? Lost your sense of humor, haven't you, boys and girls? Well, that one there says you came from apes and came from rocks, and that doesn't offend you? And that one does? You got a problem. And we get up in here, and this Australopithecus, we'll talk about him more later, becomes a Homo erectus, who becomes a Neanderthal man, who turns into Scandinavian man and Canadian man. He also becomes Cro-Magnon man, who falls back to the Irish, he reckons. He comes up to early civilized man, who turns into Greeks and Italians, and then on top is modern man. Well, you got to say one thing for him. It became with apes down here, and lemurs, and came up to the white, and that's exactly what he did here. He just put a little racial humor there, a little few ethnic jokes to see if you people could take it. And God knows people thin as skin as some of you are couldn't take it. I'll never forget one time a fellow sitting in front of a television set. These broad-minded 20th century educated liberals, you know, ACLU, you know, civil rights, you know, all that kind of stuff. And he was getting a newscast. The newscast says, so-and-so of the Senate is a practicing homosexual. And this fellow just watched the newscast and nodded his head and, you know, cracked his eyes too. Then a news item came on and it said, this fellow David Duke was a member of the Ku Klux Klan. And the fellow like had a heart attack. Almost came out of the chair, dropped his IST, pipe can out of his mouth, hair stood in the end. He couldn't settle down for 15 minutes. You know what's wrong with people like that? A filthy, wicked life. That's what's wrong. Men love darkness rather than light because of these reasons. If you get upset about a man who'd been a member of the Ku Klux Klan and not upset about a man who'd been a member of the NACP, you are a social and economic pervert. Somebody called the Ku Klux Klan is racist. The NACP is the National Association for the Advancement of One Race. Racism. You get upset one, but don't get upset with the other. What's your problem?